Nicole Kidman has made her first public appearance since her split from Keith Urban.
Stop everything you're doing because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of Hollywood meltdown that publicists pray to every PR god to bury. Imagine waking up, checking your phone, and suddenly realizing Nicole Kidman, yes, the queen of icy elegance, red carpet perfection, and zero scandal energy has just dropped. The kind of revelation about Keith Urban that could shatter the entire Hollywood marriage. Industry. Tell me why Nicole looked straight into the camera with that haunting calm she does in every Oscar-winning scene and basically said, "You all think you know Keith, but you have no idea what really happened. What do you mean?" Because the moment she said that, the internet froze. Fans panicked. Keith Urban's team allegedly went into DEFCON 7 and Hollywood insiders started whispering like the Grammys after party just turned into a courtroom. So now the entire world wants answers. What did Nicole find? What actually went down behind those mansion doors? And why are anonymous sources claiming there's footage, messages, and even a mysterious woman hiding behind the scenes? Buckle up because if you thought you knew Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, this next part is going to make your jaw hit the floor. The moment Nicole Kidman opened her mouth and hinted that something unbelievable went down with Keith Urban, Hollywood insiders swear the temperature in Beverly Hills dropped 5 degrees. Because, let's be honest, Nicole has never been the messy one. She's never been the go live and rant celebrity, never been the drag my husband publicly type. But when someone that calm, that collected, that media trained decides to speak, you already know the situation is way bigger than a minor marital hiccup. Something had been boiling behind the scenes, and apparently, the pot finally exploded. People close to Nicole say she's been off for the last few months, quieter, more distant, avoiding certain events she would normally attend with Keith. Red carpets, where she used to stand glued to his side, suddenly turned into separate rivals. Forced smiles, the kind of awkward body language experts live for. And fans shrugged it off because celebrity marriages always hit these weird patches. But now, after what she revealed, everybody is looking back at every clip, every interview, every awards show moment trying to decode the signs they ignored. The situation reportedly began months before her cryptic statement. But like all things Hollywood loves to hide, the whispers started long before that. Production assistants allegedly caught Nicole crying on set more than once. And not just emotional actress in character crying. I mean, genuinely upset, wiping her face quickly the moment someone walked in. People tried not to talk about it because she's Nicole Kidman, and no one in Hollywood wants to be the one who leaked something about an A-list queen. But everything changed when a certain late-night argument between Nicole and Keith allegedly happened at a charity gala. One of those private, backstage, no cameras allowed sections where celebrities think no one can hear them, except the staff. And according to separate anonymous workers, Nicole's voice cracked as she said, "I can't keep covering for you anymore." Covering what? That's the million-dollar question, because the moment that alleged quote leaked backstage, insiders started connecting dots. Keith Urban's last-minute cancellations, strange social media behavior, him disappearing from major events without explanation. And then there's the elephant in the room, Keith's long, complicated history with certain habits the industry pretends don't exist anymore. Fans have always rooted for his recovery, supported his journey, admired his openness. But insiders claim things weren't as clean as his PR team made them sound. One source claimed Nicole was exhausted. She carried everything: his image, his mistakes, his secrets. She was protecting him for years. Another added, whatever she found this time was too big to ignore. It crossed a line, and this is where the story shifts from simple marital tension to full-on Hollywood chaos. Because apparently, Nicole Kidman stumbled onto something she wasn't supposed to see. Something involving messages, late-night meetups, and a person who had absolutely no business being tied to Keith Urban in any way. According to an insider who has allegedly seen the situation unfold firsthand, Nicole wasn't even trying to snoop. She simply walked into a room she wasn't expected to walk into at that moment, Keith's private studio room. the place he uses to write music, decompress, and keep his creative space, except that night. It was unlocked. And Keith wasn't inside Dot, but his tablet was Dot, and according to the insider, one notification changed everything. Dot, it wasn't the "Hey, when are you home?" kind of message. It wasn't even flirty. It was a full paragraph, emotional, expressive, way too familiar, and signed with a name Nicole recognized instantly because it wasn't a stranger. It was someone who had been around them for years. Someone who smiled in Nicole's face. Someone who attended their gatherings. Someone who should have never crossed a boundary. Nicole reportedly stared at the messages for a long time, quietly processing what she was reading. The insider says she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't break anything. She simply put the tablet down, walked out, and didn't speak to Keith for 2 full days. When Keith finally confronted her, thinking something was off, Nicole allegedly looked him dead in the eyes and said, "I know everything. Don't lie to me." That's when Keith's panic set in. Sources claimed that Keith immediately tried to explain, tried to twist it into some emotional misunderstanding, tried to call it harmless, not what it looks like, or even taken out of context. But Nicole is not the type to fall for clumsy excuses, especially not after decades of navigating the brutal Hollywood spotlight. She reportedly asked one question that shut Keith down completely: "How long?" Eyewitnesses say Keith couldn't answer. Shortly afterward, Nicole moved quietly, professionally, calculated. Every appearance she made suddenly looked like a woman carrying something heavy beneath her calm exterior. And fans noticed. Interviewers asked gentle questions, and Nicole smiled through them. But that glint in her eye? It wasn't the usual sparkle. It was controlled damage, contained anger. A woman who knew something she wasn't ready to tell the world yet. But then came the turning point. The moment everything shifted. Nicole sat down for a casual interview, the kind actors do when they're promoting a new project. Except halfway through, when the host casually mentioned Keith, Nicole paused. Her entire body froze for half a second. And instead of giving the usual, "Oh, Keith is wonderful," she said the now infamous line, "Sometimes the people you trust the most surprise you the most." It wasn't a joke. It wasn't playful. It was a warning shot. Hollywood exploded. Fans demanded answers. People who had known them for years started whispering. Tabloids immediately dug into Keith's past. PR teams allegedly scrambled to do damage control, trying to keep everything friendly and consistent, but behind the scenes, sources claim Keith was terrified not just of the scandal, but of what Nicole might reveal if pushed. Because apparently, Nicole didn't just see the messages. She found much more. According to an anonymous source close to the situation, Nicole hired a private investigator weeks before making her public statement. And if that detail is true, then Nicole knew everything before anyone realized. She wasn't guessing. She wasn't speculating. She was collecting proof. The insider claims the investigator uncovered receipts, photos, and communication logs that paint a very different picture of Keith's perfect husband persona. And the most shocking part? The alleged involvement of a third person wasn't even the biggest issue. What Nicole reportedly discovered went way deeper: financial transfers, private meetings disguised as work, and travel records that didn't match Keith's public schedule. Things that look horrible when put together. Things Nicole had stayed silent about for years. Until now, people close to the couple believe. Nicole reached her breaking point when she realized she had been covering for someone who wasn't protecting her in return. A woman like Nicole Kidman doesn't expose something unless she's pushed beyond her limit. And according to one insider, the moment she revealed even a fraction of the truth publicly, Keith knew it was only the beginning. They claim Keith's team immediately tried to silence the situation, contacting studios, blocking journalists, and pulling strings to minimize the fallout. But Nicole, she wasn't backing down anymore. She wasn't backing down anymore. Industry insiders suggest that Nicole might be preparing for something major, something that explains her calm, composed tone. Because when someone that powerful finally decides to speak, they don't just reveal one secret. They expose the entire truth, And that's exactly where things begin to unravel, because once Nicole reached that no turning back moment, she reportedly started letting certain details slip to specific people she trusted. People who knew how to keep things quiet until the right moment. But Hollywood isn't a place where secrets stay secrets. Once the right whispers hit the wrong circles, the entire machine kicks into overdrive. Suddenly, top executives were asking quiet questions. Publicists were drafting statements before anything even came out. And Keith? According to insiders, Keith was spiraling. They say he started calling people he hadn't spoken to in years, desperately trying to get ahead of the narrative. That phrase alone tells you everything. Because innocent people don't worry about narratives, they worry about the truth. Keith, on the other hand, allegedly panicked about optics, headlines, and what Nicole might reveal next. His team went into crisis mode, preparing for every possible angle. Except one thing, Nicole wasn't playing the Hollywood PR game anymore. She wasn't giving hints for tabloids to twist. She wasn't doing shady subtweets. She was quiet. Too quiet, and that silence? It terrified everyone. Sources claim that the situation escalated when a major magazine reached out to Nicole's team, requesting comment on rumored issues in her marriage. Nicole reportedly didn't respond with denial. She didn't respond with anger. She simply said, "No comment at this time," for words that set Keith's camp into a frenzy. Because they knew what no comment meant. It meant she wasn't protecting anyone anymore. Meanwhile, the person at the center of the alleged emotional messages, the one whose name Nicole recognized, instantly apparently disappeared from public view. No events, no posts, no sightings. People who knew them claim they went radio silent as soon as Nicole found out. And Keith? He allegedly begged Nicole not to make this public, promising her that it wasn't what it looked like. But Nicole reportedly told him the one sentence that chilled insiders to the bone: "It's already done." But what exactly was done? This is where the story takes a darker turn. According to an insider who claims to have access to legal discussions, Nicole has been gathering a timeline, not just of the recent situation, but of everything. Every inconsistency, every missing hour, every unexplained trip, every story that didn't add up. They say she was building a file, a comprehensive, undeniable breakdown of the last several years. And the scariest, this video? She reportedly told a close friend, "I'm telling the truth this time." All of it. People close to Keith say he hasn't taken this well. He's been described as distracted, unfocused, and visibly stressed during recent appearances. Some insiders even claim he abruptly walked off set during a rehearsal after receiving a phone call from Nicole. No explanation. Just grabbed his stuff and left. When crew members asked what happened, his team allegedly said, "Family emergency." But insiders say it wasn't an emergency. It was a warning, because Nicole didn't just find messages. She found documentation, proof, and if even half of what the investigators claim she uncovered is real, then Keith might be facing more than a PR disaster. The alleged financial trail alone would be enough to raise questions. Transactions that didn't match Keith's public activities. Payments labeled under vague descriptions. Travel costs for locations Keith was never publicly scheduled to be in. And the biggest red flag, multiple encrypted communications tied to an account Keith supposedly didn't recognize. But Nicole recognized it. She reportedly confronted him with the evidence, one piece at a time. And insiders claim Keith broke down crying, apologizing, begging her not to expose him. But Nicole wasn't the emotional one this time. She was cold, calm, detached. Her focus wasn't on comforting him or fighting with him. Her focus was on the truth. And that change in her demeanor scared Keith more than anything else. One insider says Keith even reached out to two of Nicole's closest friends, asking them to talk to her and help fix things. But by then, it was too late. Nicole had reached the point of no return. Because this wasn't one mistake. This wasn't one betrayal. This was years of patterns finally collapsing under the weight of the final discovery. Hollywood started preparing behind the scenes for a possible storm. Producers began asking quiet questions about upcoming projects. Nicole's team received multiple just checking in messages from executives who never reach out unless something is about to explode. Keith's label reportedly started reviewing contracts in case they needed to pause or adjust promotional plans. When companies start preparing before something even drops, you already know the situation is bigger than anyone expected. And then came the biggest leak so far. A close associate who claims to have been present during a conversation between Nicole and her team revealed that Nicole has screenshots, logs, receipts, and digital backups stored in multiple locations, not just on her devices on external drives. Locked, secure, protected. In other words, she came prepared. She wasn't playing games. She was thinking long-term. Analysts say that kind of preparation usually hints at one thing, a possible legal move. But here's the twist. Nicole hasn't filed anything. She hasn't hinted at divorce. She hasn't made dramatic social media statements. She's simply waiting, watching, and that makes the entire industry nervous. Because no one knows when or how she's going to speak next. And when she does, it might be catastrophic. Meanwhile, fans have started speculating online. Some believe the messages were romantic. Others think it was emotional manipulation. A few think it was something business-related that crossed ethical boundaries. But insiders keep repeating the same line. It wasn't just one thing. One anonymous insider who has seen part of the alleged evidence said, "If the public ever sees what she found, Keith's career won't survive it." This goes way beyond personal drama, and now the pressure is building. Journalists are circling like vultures. Tabloids are preparing cover stories. Social media detectives are digging through old interviews looking for signs. And Keith's PR team is exhausted, allegedly working 18-hour days trying to stay ahead of every rumor. But the truth is, they can't stop what's coming. Because the person holding the real story, the only story that matters, is Nicole, and according to those close to her, she's not scared anymore. The turning point reportedly came during a late-night call between Nicole and one of her closest confidants. She allegedly said, "I've protected him long enough." That sentence alone sent chills through insiders who heard about it. Because when Nicole Kidman decides she's done protecting someone, that usually means she's about to free herself from something heavy. The industry is now holding its breath. Because Nicole isn't messy. She isn't reckless. She isn't impulsive. Whatever she's about to do will be calculated, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. And the only question left is when she'll make her next move. But according to sources, Keith already knows the answer. He's reportedly told someone close to him, when she speaks again, it's over. That line alone shows how much he fears the next revelation. And the second he said those words, everything shifted again. So now the question is simple, but the impact is massive. After everything you've heard, everything Nicole uncovered, everything Keith tried to bury, ask yourself this: do you honestly think this story ends quietly? Because if Nicole Kidman is really sitting on years of messages, financial trails, encrypted logs, and silent witnesses, then the next time she speaks, it won't just shake Hollywood. It will rewrite it, and here's the part nobody wants to admit. We're only seeing the surface, the hints, the whispers, the tiny cracks in a story that's about to split open like a fault line. If Nicole really steps forward with the truth, careers will crumble, reputations will burn, and the industry will be forced to face questions it's been dodging for years. But until that moment arrives, all we can do is watch the smoke rising and wait for the explosion. So tell me, what do you think actually happened? Is Keith Urban hiding something deeper? Is Nicole preparing for the reveal of the decade? Or is Hollywood bracing for a scandal bigger than anyone imagined? Drop your theories in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe, because trust me, this story is far from over.